And Man here on BBC4 next week. Himmler, the Decent One, is here at 9 next Monday. Next, though, spy drama and an all-star cast with The Human Factor. Stay with us.
On any other day, this may seem a bit odd. But on the 26th of April, it's heroic. From the funniest to the fastest, they're all heroes to us. The London Marathon. Coverage starts Sunday at 8:30 on BBC2.
You might not know much about Nate Silver, but Nate Silver knows a lot about you. He famously called the outcome of the 2012 US presidential election exactly right. Can he forecast how we're going to vote on May the 7th?
Panorama. Who will win the election? Next Monday at 8:30.
On the trail of a leak in the Secret Service now on BBC4, there's some strong language as Richard Attenborough, Derek Jacobi and John Gielgud star in the 1979 adaptation of Graham Greene's spy novel, The Human Factor.
.172 went out to Kinshasa yesterday. 169 came back somewhat mutilated. Nasty. Well, I'll be out for lunch. Davis will be holding the fort. Right.
Sorry, Emily. You're going out to sell a few secrets?
I find that the bottom has dropped out of the market for British secrets. How about you?
Oh, I have to take what I can get for them. Bachelors need the money more than you married men. How's Sarah?
Fine.
And the little bastard?
Little bastard's fine, too.
Good heavens, somebody's phoning us.
If Zaire replies to 172, send copies to the Foreign Office in the Treasury.
Sir, Brigadier Tomlinson wants to see you.
Brigadier Tomlinson?
Yes, sir. Upstairs, room A3.
A3, thank you.
Come in. Castle, come in. I don't think you know Colonel Daintree.
How do you do?
Sit down.
I think I knew a cousin of yours at Cambridge.
Colonel Daintree's just joined the firm. He's taken over security.
I suppose you mean my cousin Roger. I haven't seen him for years. He's at the Treasury. He got a first in mathematics. I got a poor third in history, so I'm in the Secret Service.
I explained to Colonel Daintree that only you and Davis deal with top secret cables as far as Section 6A is concerned.
Of course, Watson is in charge of 6. He sees them, too.
Davis was at Reading University, I believe.
You've been having a chat with him, have you?
Well, I talked to Davis about you, so now I'm talking to you about Davis. It's an open check. I gather that politically he's a bit on the left, hmm?
Oh, yes, he's a member of the Labour Party.
And you?
I have no politics, as Davis no doubt told you.
Well, there's nothing personal in all this, you know, but it's, one's got to stick with the drill.
Of course.
I shan't keep you long. I have a train to catch at King's Cross.
The shooting weekend?
Yes, how did you know? Oh, yes, elementary.
My dear Watson.
Watson is our chief in Section 6.
Well, actually, I meant...
It's purely routine. I mean, there aren't so many rules that sometimes some of them get neglected. It's human nature. There's the regulation about not taking work out of the office. Briefcases and so on. Thank you. Yes, you live in the country. Do you find it a bit inconvenient?
Well, it's less than an hour by train. We have a child, you see, and a dog.
Huckleberry Finn, good?
Yes, in my opinion, it's better than Tom Sawyer.
Oh, you get your cheese from Paxton's.
Yes.
You prefer their cheese to Fortnum's?
Not particularly, but a cheese shop. There's something foolhardy and English about it.
What on earth are Maltesers?
Oh, a sort of chocolate.
Good.
And they're a peace offering. I was disagreeable to my son this morning.
Didn't mind, did you? I asked the same of Davis.
Davis wasn't carrying a briefcase when I saw him.
Yeah, that's true. But I was thinking about what he had in his overcoat pockets. Is he in the habit of taking reports out of the office to look through over lunch?
Not that I'm aware.
Very embarrassing, you know, having to ask men to empty their raincoat pockets like schoolboys. Not that we haven't got complete confidence in both of you, of course. Gil, do you think those teaser things would do for my hostess? I'd like to take her something out of the ordinary.
Well, I think they should fit the bill then.
Send the porter out. Do you think Fortnum's have them?
I don't know. They're very inexpensive.
Oh, I don't want to seem niggardly.
Go for quantity.
£5? No, £10 maybe, something like that. Nicely done up. Do you think it might amuse her?
Definitely.
Oh, well, I think that covers it. Thank you.
Sarah? Sarah? Sarah?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was talking to Dr. Barker.
Oh, what's wrong?
Sam's got measles.
He'll do all right. It does keep him quiet.
Would you like a whiskey, Doctor?
No, thanks. I haven't finished yet. Hypochondria is sweeping the parish. And some genuine cases of measles, of course. Keep Sam's curtains drawn tomorrow. Not too much light.
Thank you for coming to see me, Doctor.
Bye-bye.
Bye. What's the matter?
Well, I was worried. Everything seemed wrong. No wife, no child, no dog.
He's in the garden eating grass.
No whiskey on the sideboard.
What a creature of habit you are.
I know. I don't want any interesting variations. The whiskey bottle on the lawn and the dog on the sideboard.
Everything is normal, except Sam's temperature.
Can I see Sam?
He was almost asleep. Better leave him for a while.
Oh, hello, Buller. Why don't you bark when I came home? You're a failure.
He's not a complete failure. He frightened the electricity man this morning, even though he was only trying to be friendly. I feel safer with him when you're not here. And Sam loves him. Finish the book.
I need a change. Perhaps I'll have a go at War and Peace before it's too late.
We haven't got it.
I'm going to buy a copy on Monday. Cheese? Maltesers for Sam. Why was the electricity man afraid of Buller? He knows him.
This one was new.
He looks awfully hot and dry.
So would you if you had a temperature of 103. Are you sad we haven't made a child? I'm worried about him starting school.
He's a good runner. In England, you're accepted if you're good at any kind of games.
I don't want him to be an honorary white.
No, we don't.
You love him, don't you?
Yes.
It's so strange. A little bastard.
That's what Davis calls him.
Davis? He doesn't
Oh,
know.
no, of course not. He calls all children little bastards. I forgot something.
You worried about something?
No, there's nothing really. Something happened at the office today. New security man, throwing his weight about. It irritated me.
It's not their fault. It's the fault of the job.
Yes, but I've been with the firm for more than 15 years. I ought to be trusted by this time.
I love the firm. The firm gave you to me. And I love it till it takes you away.
My Lord.
Yours, Daintree.
Is that man Daintree slightly crazy?
I don't think so. First class shot. Why?
He brought a rather grand-looking package and presented it to me. And when I opened it, out dropped about 200 little bags of chocolate marbles. What the hell am I supposed to do with them?
My dear fellow.
I'm going up. But there are drinks for those who want one before changing.
A good day's sport, I hope?
Yes, the birds were going over well.
I'm a fishing man myself. You're Daintree, aren't you? I took your blood pressure once.
Oh, yes, of course, Dr. Percival.
I wanted us to get together quietly here. Come into the study.
My God, if these are not Maltesers. I always bought them at the movies when I was a kid.
We owe them to Colonel Daintree.
I haven't had a Malteser in donkey's years. Never go to the movies now, that's the trouble.
There seems to be a leak somewhere in Section 6.
At home or in the field?
I'm not sure, but I have a nasty feeling it's here at home, in one of the African sections, 6A.
I've just finished going through Section 6. Routine check.
And?
Well, security has got a bit slack, but that's true of all the other sections, too. A lot of briefcases going out at lunchtime, that sort of thing.
It's just possible that the leak came from abroad, that the evidence has been planted here by the Russians. They may be after scandal more than information. Damaged morale, hurt us with the Americans. A spy scandal could be more dangerous than the leak itself.
Not a very important leak, then?
A very small drip, mainly economic matters. Any ideas, Daintree?
The head of Section 6, Watson, is fairly new. He's been very thoroughly checked out. Then there's Castle. He belongs to the slack vetting days, but I'd say he's clear. Married. Second wife, first wife dead. One child. House in the country. Life insurance. Very steady.
A country house?
No. A small house in Berkhamsted on mortgage. No high living. Doesn't even run to a car. Dullish chap, really. We brought him back from Pretoria 7 or 8 years ago.
Spot of trouble in Africa?
Only personal. Some problems about the girl he wanted to marry.
She was a black, wasn't she?
Is that significant?
Did I say so?
Tell me about Davis.
I don't know I'm quite so happy about Davis. Fascia type altogether. Bachelor, lives alone, spends fairly freely. Runs a pretty expensive car.
So do I.
Likes a bet. Fond of vintage port.
I'm fond of vintage port.
Reading University. Mathematics, physics, and Labour Party.
Like nearly half the population. What about secretaries?
They're vetted more carefully than anyone.
The girl mainly concerned with 6A is General Chamberlain's daughter.
May we ask who tipped us off?
Moscow. The Soviet defector who remains in place.
You know, the thing that worries me is that Davis was taking a report out of the office. I could put a maximum security check on him.
Yes, but looking beyond that, suppose you proved it, what then?
Well, that'd be up to the courts.
Then they'll have pulled it off, won't they?
Pulled it off?
Another trial. Usual headlines. Nobody outside will know how unimportant the leak was. Only that the British Secret Service has been penetrated again. And then there's our source in Moscow. We don't want to blow him, as long as he proves useful.
Might be better to shut our eyes to the whole thing. Move whoever responsible to a backwater and forget him.
And a better crime?
The Russians don't often bring things to a trial. If we're to have any chance of beating them at their own game, well, it's important that we're playing the same game. Logical?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Shall we have just one more whiskey, or should we leave it there?
Well, I'd like another, if I may. I don't want to be difficult, but I would like to get things a little clearer.
It's quite simple. Take Davis. You put on your maximum security check. You might give him a marked note. See if it turns up in Moscow, that sort of thing.
I could feed Davis some plausible tidbit from the bacteriological boys at Porton. Then if it bounced back, there wouldn't be much doubt, would there?
Then when we're quite certain he's our man, it seems to me, we just have to eliminate him.
Eliminate?
Well, Daintree, what we can't risk is a midnight flight and a press conference in Moscow.
You asking me to push someone under a train?
Good heavens, sir, we can't afford an inquest. He should die quite peacefully, without pain if possible, poor chap.
Who?
If it is Davis, he's only just over 40. Makes life a bit difficult with these antibiotics. I mean, death. Perhaps a heart attack.
Or his liver, if he drinks a lot.
You said something about port, didn't you, Daintree?
But I'm not saying he's guilty.
None of us are. We're just taking Davis as an example to examine the problem. We may need the science boys. Nothing spectacular. Doctor's certificate. That's why I wanted Percival here, to meet you.
Not disturbing you, I hope?
Oh. Forget to pack something. Anything I can lend you?
What's that?
Well, it was recommended by my dentist. The water gets between the teeth.
Of course, you do eat rather a lot of chocolate, don't you? Mine was recommended by Cartier.
Castle, it is after midnight.
Didn't want you to go to bed troubled. You seemed rather shocked at Hargreaves' attitude.
Perhaps I was.
Hargreaves likes to shock. A bit naughty like that.
Really?
Do you shave morning as well as night?
Yes, it's a habit.
Something to do with being married, is it?
My wife and I are separated.
Never wanted to get married myself. The trout fishing season is far too short as it is. And there's another thing. You haven't been with us very long, you'd know. We all live in boxes. You know, boxes. Do you know Mondrian?
Someone in the firm?
Not as far as I know. He was a painter, chappie. Boxes. All part of the same picture. Each one separate, but held in perfect balance. Everyone to his own box. You in yours, I in mine. No responsibility for the next man's box. Makes sense, you know. Just find our leak and pass him on to the next box. No reason to lose any sleep.
I wonder if the painter shares your interpretation.
He's dead.
Good morning. All well at the Foreign Office, I trust. These things are relative. 1897 was our best year, I think. I wonder if you've got a copy of War and Peace, the Aylmer Maude translation, I thought.
Have you finished Huckleberry Finn already, sir?
Well, I'd like a change.
Well, I do have the Aylmer Maude. You can't beat Aylmer Maude for Tolstoy.
2 copies, as usual. Family well? Well, my lad has measles. It's nothing to worry about. How's your son?
Oh, his business is doing very well, I'm afraid.
Oh, perhaps I'll meet your son someday.
And we talk of you often.
Do you?
He's interested to know what you're buying.
Come in.
Here, love. A letter for Mr. Davis and a cable. Mozambique, I expect.
What makes you think that?
Well, there's no secret in this place. He has to sign the receipt.
Just a moment. Letter for you. You have to sign.
What about my message?
I'm afraid I'm busy for lunch. There's a cable from Lorenzo Marquez. I'll bring it in as soon as I've decoded it.
Would you come to Lorenzo Marquez with me, Cynthia? I've always dreamt of being sent one day to Lorenzo Marquez. You've been there, haven't you?
Yes. Sarah and I spent a couple of days at the Polana Hotel. 8 years ago.
What's your dream, Carson?
Security. Not dangerous kind of security.
I know I'm a romantic. When I joined the firm, I thought of atom secrets and Lugers.
Atom Secrets is Section 8. Castle?
What are they up to now? Have you got one of these?
All right. Hargreaves wants me.
I have to report for a medical.
Something to do with insurance, perhaps. They gave me one before they sent me abroad, I remember.
Do you think they might be sending me abroad, too?
If you're really serious, Davis, I'll put you up for an exchange.
Castle, I'm serious. I've had it here.
All right.
Good morning, sir.
Sit down, Castle. You remember a chap called Muller, Cornelius Muller?
Yes, very well.
He's coming over from Africa. We're going to let him see some of the material you deal with.
He'll know more about Zaire than we do.
It's Mozambique he's interested in.
Well, in that case, Davis is your man, sir. The other thing is, sir, if you look in my file, I didn't meet Muller under the most agreeable circumstances.
I've gone through your file. How is your wife, by the way?
She's well, thank you. I really think it would be better if Davis were to deal with Muller.
Davis hasn't your experience of boss.
Well, my experience of the Bureau of State Security was personal.
All the same, you are Davis's superior. You're the natural officer, to see. I know it'll be a little bit tricky. Knives out on both sides. Are you and your wife vegetarian, by the way?
Vegetarian, no.
Good. Have a bird. I brought a brace down to give my secretary, and it turns out she doesn't even eat eggs. Amazing.
It's very kind of you, sir.
You must come and have a go next autumn.
I wouldn't be any good at it, sir. I've never shot anything in my life. Why do we have to show Muller anything, sir?
Yes, I'm not too keen on the Dutch myself. Not my kind of Africa at all. But would you rather have a Russian Africa?
No.
There's a joint operation they call Uncle Remus. I'm telling you that because Muller might mention it.
I see.
Why don't you have him home for a meal? That's what I do when I want to keep outsiders at arm's length. They go away thinking they've been clasped to the bosom.
I don't know if my wife would agree.
Let's leave it to her. All right? Don't forget your bird.
Oh, yes.
Why not take both?
I'll give one to Davis. Oh, could I have a word with you about Davis, sir?
Yes, of course. What is it?
He needs a change. I think we ought to send him to Lorenzo Marquez. Our man there might well be glad of a swap.
Has Davis suggested that?
Well, not exactly. I think he'd like to get away. He's in a pretty nervous state.
What about?
Oh, spot of gold trouble, I expect. And desk fatigue.
I'd bear him in mind. Oh, by the way, Castle, this visit of Muller's is strictly secret. I haven't even told Watson yet. And you shouldn't tell Davis.
This is the precise colour of a 47 Chateau Yquem I was offered at the French embassy the other evening. There, I'm happy to say, the resemblance ends.
There's nothing seriously wrong, is there? I feel fine.
You ought to be careful with your liver. Let's have you on the scales.
What's up with my liver?
One has to be careful, especially we bachelors. It's the social life. Sit down. I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Well, I don't live it up much. I mean, I like a drink of port. I like to go to the pub occasionally. Perhaps finish up with one or two at the club.
I'm rather good at guessing other men's clubs. The Gallic?
The Playgirl Show Bar, actually.
I'm a member of the Wigan Pen myself. If you take me to yours, I'll take you to mine.
Would you really like to?
Why not? I've never been to a show bar. Tits in the martini and all that. Must be bad for your blood pressure.
Do you know what all this is about?
I'm afraid not. I'm in my own little box, just as you are in yours. You can get dressed.
But you aren't in the firm.
I'm C's liaison with Portland.
I don't like to think about Portland. People talk so much about nuclear weapons, they quite forget all about bacteriological warfare.
You mustn't run down Portland. It's the one area where we are ahead of the Americans. It's a very useful thing.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, I do. I'll give you an example. If the Americans come to us and say, can we come up with some little beastie which can survive practically any insecticide the Cubans can spray on it while it's munching up the sugarcane crops, we say, by all means, and there's a little favor you can do for us. Get the point? I'm going to have you back for another blood test.
Listen, what are all these tests about?
We medicos love tests. It's the thrill of the chase. Hunting down disease in people who think they're perfectly fit.
I've been asked out this evening. Dinner with one of the senior men. Davis will put me up.
Will it be that late?
Do you mind?
Oh, no. I trust Davis to look after you.
This is the approved scarf, madam.
Thank you.
Muller's coming over, Sarah.
Cornelius Muller?
Yes. I have to be friendly to him, by order.
Don't worry. He can't hurt us now.
How do I look?
You look splendid.
That's £5, please, sir.
Right.
be like old times to you.
Why?
Africa. What I said about blood pressure.
You can't scare me tonight. We'll have the same again.
I'm fine.
Well, gentlemen, this is my pad, so I'll say good night.
I'm sorry he came.
I thought you liked him.
I did. But he got on my nerves tonight with his damn talk about my blood pressure. What's it got to do with him? Is he really a doctor?
Well, it's something to do with Portland.
Yes, he told me.
Did he?
Yes, he was rather proud of Portland.
How do you mean?
He says they're well ahead of the Americans. The Americans have to come to them, cap in hand, asking for a bug to eat up all the Cuban sugarcane, that sort of thing. That's what he told me. Make yourself at home. I'll find a nightcap for us. Do you want some music?
Does no one here ever clean up?
That woman comes in on Monday. I save it all for her. What about a glass of port?
Have you got any scotch?
We'll call it a black and white walker. Black and white walker isn't so bad. You could advertise it. Giant panda strutting about with a top hat. How can that be? Hello.
Sarah, am I disturbing you?
No, it's all right. It's Sarah.
Sarah?
You weren't asleep, were you?
Oh, what is it? Is it Sam?
No, Sam's all right. I'm scared. The telephone has rung twice since midnight.
The wrong number. It's always happening. It's nothing to be scared of.
Somebody knows you're not in the house.
Look, I'd come back if I could, but...
Oh, no, I don't want that. I feel better now that I've talked to you. I'm a fool, aren't I? I love you, darling.
Same here, darling.
Say sorry to Davis.
Good night, darling.
Good night, Morris.
Nothing really wrong, is there?
No, not with Sarah. I think your phone's tapped.
How do you know?
It just hit me. I don't know. Like a door left open, which is usually shut.
Well, nobody can tell nowadays when a phone's tapped.
Unless they want you to know.
Why?
Scare you, perhaps?
Why me?
Percival's conversation with you worries me. I think they're onto a leak and are trying to check up.
And they think we're the leaks?
Yes, one of us. Or perhaps both.
Well, as we're not, who cares? Who bloody cares? I'm sick of them. No, I'm not coming in on Monday morning, Castle. Do you mind? It's Cynthia's day off, and I've invited her to the zoo after breakfast and a lobster salad at Brinkley's.
Did she say she'd come?
No. But she didn't say she wouldn't. Perhaps she'll take pity on me, damn her.
Oh, Davis, you really are in love, aren't you?
If anybody asks, I'm at the dentist. All right, Castle? Now, I promise I'll be back at 1.
Aren't you supposed to brief Watson on that report from 69300?
After lunch. I'll take it with me to look at.
You really do take chances, Davis.
I'm going to take Cynthia to the monkey house to study copulation.
Oh, sorry if I'm late, my dear.
Hello, Father. I've given myself a sherry.
Same for me, please. How's your mother?
I've got news for you. Only Mother knows. Well, don't you want to hear my news?
News? Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. Someone I know.
I'm getting married.
Married? Does your mother know?
Father, I've just told you she does.
Oh.
He's in an advertising agency. He handles the Jameson's baby powder account.
Oh, good.
They're spending a huge amount trying to knock Johnson's baby powder into second place. Colin wrote the slogan. Jameson's is the smoothest. You can bet your baby's bottom dollar. He's very creative, Colin.
Isn't he? My dear, are you absolutely sure?
We're both quite sure, Father. And after all, we have been living together for the past year.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never knew.
While I think of it, I'll give you our phone number. I'm there officially from the 21st. It's only a registry office wedding, and we aren't inviting anybody. Family, I mean, except Mother. You'd be welcome, of course, if you're not too frightened to meet Mother.
Oh, I'm not sure I can make it. What would you like for a wedding present?
Oh, a check would be best. And easier for you. You should come, you know.
I'll try.
Bring a friend if it'll make you feel less out of it.
Friend?
You do have friends, don't you?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course.
I know where Davis was last Monday morning.
Huh?
At the zoo.
So?
He told Castle he was going to the dentist.
Did he meet anyone?
No, but he was waiting for somebody. He had a report with him.
It's all very circumstantial.
John, I'm convinced he's our man.
What about Watson?
He's the one who hasn't been with us long.
With his vetting, he wouldn't get away with a communist wet nurse. Then there's Castle. Even less likely. Son of an old-fashioned family doctor. Mother was a head warden during the Blitz. Attends Conservative Party rallies.
Well, that clears the mother, of course.
He's a good son. He visits her every month. Good family man, careful with money, moderate with drink. Wouldn't have the imagination to be a double agent.
And when we are sure, have you decided how we act?
We're working on a cute little scheme, John. Groundnuts.
Groundnuts?
As you know, groundnuts. Like peanuts.
I do know what a groundnut is, Emmanuel. I was a commissioner in Nigeria for 6 years.
Apparently, when they go bad, they produce a mold. The mold produces something called aflatoxin. Waiter.
Please, Mr. Davis, please.
All right. I'll hide first.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Bloody cold being hit.
Well, it was your idea.
I couldn't resist Sam. Little bastard loves hide and seek.
I'll give them a shot.
No, hang on. I want to talk to you, Castle. I'm being followed. On Thursday, I took Cynthia to Scott's. Now, there was a man standing by the entrance when we were leaving. Later on, he was at Scott's, too, drinking black velvet. Then today, as I was leaving the flat, I noticed a Mini parked in the street. Only by chance, I thought I knew the man. I didn't. But I saw him again behind me, driving out of London.
Did he follow you here?
No, I lost him.
I told you your phone was tapped.
Castle, what the hell is going on?
Well, there must be a leak somewhere. They're putting out a security check, and they don't mind if you notice. They're trying to make you lose your nerve. I mean, if you were the leak.
You don't believe that, Castle?
No, of course not. I mean, let them finish their check, and they won't believe it either.
I don't like this, Castle.
I'm not making much headway with War and Peace, Mr. Halliday.
Oh, dear, dear. It's a great book. If only you have the patience. Did you reach the retreat from Moscow?
No, and my friend got tired of it before I did.
Well, let's see what we can do for you. What about one of the great Victorians? A Trollope. I'll ask my son to suggest one. He's very fond of Trollope. Oh, yes, he's a surprising boy, but it's the money, you see.
I suppose he must make quite a lot of money.
Yes, but he needs a lot to pay the police income tax. That's what he calls it. Income, police, and you pay the tax. 2 copies as usual, sir.
Please go in.
Come in, Castle. Of course, you two have met before.
I'm glad you found it possible to call, Mr. Castle. Take a seat.
Yes, it wasn't very convenient, but, well, here I am.
We wanted to avoid making an unnecessary scandal by writing to your ambassador. You've been very imprudent. Security police, it's Captain Vendong, who brought the matter to our attention. He feels that diplomatic privileges are often unduly stretched as far as junior employees of an embassy are concerned. He would like to go through the form of arrest and charge you for breaking the law.
What law?
If you want to fuck a black whore, why don't you go to a whorehouse in Lesotho or Swaziland? They're still part of your so-called Commonwealth.
You've been under observation, Castle. You must be aware, if it wasn't for diplomatic privilege, you'd been in prison now.
Where is she?
That's all right, Captain. I'll look after Mr. Castle now. Thank you for all the help you have given our department.
Don't worry. I'll find her.
I'm afraid he'll give the girl a rough time. Of course, I could offer her some protection. There are times, Castle, when you have to decide who your friends are.
I suppose Sir John knows that I once tried to recruit you.
Recruit? That doesn't seem quite the word. But, well, here we are, working together after all.
You know, if I'd known what your real job was, I wouldn't have threatened you over that wretched Bantu girl. I never realized she was only one of your agents. I took you for one of those high-minded, anti-apartheid sentimentalists. You don't bear me any grudge.
We're both pros.
By the way, how did you get your agent out?
My agent?
The Bantu girl. I suppose it was through Swaziland?
Yes.
I thought we had that frontier pretty well watertight. Do you remember Captain Van Donk?
Vividly.
I had to ask for his demotion over your affair, letting the girl slip. What was her name? Mancosi?
Sarah Mancosi, that's right.
I was convinced it was a real love affair. Don't take offense. I was sure that if we had a girl safely in prison, you'd consent to work for us. Do you know, I once had an encounter with a black bottom myself. I wasn't in the Republic, of course. In Lesotho, mixing with my black brothers in the Holiday Inn casino. It seemed somehow quite different there. Apart from being legal, I mean.
£10, shall we say? Well, then, it does have a bearing on Uncle Remus and the problems we might face together. Your country, my country, and the States, of course.
Ah, here she is. Hello, darling. Hello. Let me introduce Mr. Muller, my wife, Sarah.
I'm so glad to meet you, Mrs. Castle.
We almost met 7 years ago.
Yes, 7 wasted years. You have a very beautiful wife, Castle.
Thank you.
And our son, Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
How old are you?
7. How old are you?
How do you like the climate here, Mrs. Castle? After South Africa.
It's less extreme. You do mean the weather.
Yes, the weather.
It's less extreme.
What shall we drink to? Uncle Remus?
Let's leave Uncle Remus for the office.
If you like.
I'd rather drink to you and your wife. I hope she hasn't retired because of us.
No, it's all right.
Here's to you both. We used to get an excellent port from Lorenzo Marquez when it was still a Portuguese city. It's a very different place now.
Poor Davis.
Poor who?
No, nothing. Young chap I work with.
Your wife must miss Africa sometimes.
Her memories are different from yours.
Oh, come now. We are both Africans. My family arrived before the Bantu. It's only latecomers who make the mistake of identifying Africans with color. Especially the communists, of course. Like poor Connolly.
Why poor Connolly?
He went too far. He had contacts with the guerrillas. He was a good lawyer. Made life very difficult for the security police.
Doesn't he still?
No. He died in prison a year ago. Pneumonia. Well, it saved him for a long trial.
Good morning. That's right. I'm Castle. That's right.
Morning. Glad you could come.
This is Mr. Castle from the British Embassy.
I'm not here as a diplomat. I'm a writer.
I invited him to sit in on our discussion group. He'll answer questions, right?
Well, I was hoping to ask some.
It's a trade.
Fair enough. Who goes first?
I've got a question. What do you think you're doing here, man?
Well, that's a rhetorical question, I think.
I didn't know that. We don't speak the same language. And you couldn't write a book I'd want to read.
Well, I'm just here trying to...
We've got white liberals of our own. We don't need to import.
Let him talk.
What can he tell us? Book writer. You know what the liberals are going to have to do in this country?
Tell me.
Duck. They're going to have to duck.
I'm sorry, perhaps this wasn't such a good idea.
I know, it's all right, I'm learning.
What's the book?
Well, it's difficult to contact people.
You need a postman.
I'd be grateful of any help.
I'll see what I can do. This is Sarah Mancosi. Can you give her a lift back to Pretoria?
Of course.
You don't want to look conspicuous. Well, goodbye.
Bye, thank you. I'm afraid I'm a little naive about South Africa.
If I was dressed up as your maid, I could sit in front. Then you'd be taking your maid home. Matthew Connolly said I might be able to help you.
That's fine. Code it for London. Is everything all right?
The Durban plane was late, but the man I wanted you to talk to was not on it anyway.
I thought something awful had happened here.
Not to me. To him, perhaps. You may have to write your book without him. But there are many others.
Is it safe for you to be here?
Safe enough. It's an expensive hotel, you see. One of the best. If we tried to meet in Marmelade or Soweto, the security police would soon want to know why. There are different rules for money.
I've brought a drink. Whiskey?
Small one, thank you. With water, please.
Good luck.
I'm sorry today went wrong for you. We'll have better luck next time.
I think you should stay clear after this.
Why?
I'm worried about you.
I don't want to stop. I'd miss it.
Why did Connolly choose you to help me?
I was feeling sorry for myself, and Matthew thought I should get on with something useful.
What was the matter?
A friend of mine was killed a few weeks ago. He was knocked down by a car.
Was he a close friend?
Yes, he was.
Isn't there a better way we could meet for a drink without attracting attention?
Pretoria is very conservative. It's not Johannesburg.
Well, Johannesburg's less than an hour's drive. We could meet there.
Yes. All right. Are you really a diplomat, Morris?
Yes, of course. Why?
You don't behave very diplomatically.
I think this is very diplomatic behavior. Friendly relations with the local inhabitants.
Have you booked a room here?
No. Why?
Are you afraid to risk it?
Aren't you? Sarah.
It's all right. It was my idea.
That's not what I meant. You don't regret it, do you?
What's there to regret? I can't stay the night.
Well, I'll drive you back.
No, you've got to stay. It will look strange if you left. I have friends in Johannesburg, and I'll make my own way home tomorrow.
But when will I see you?
If you need me, leave a message with Matthew Connor.
I think I will need you. But I want to see you again when we don't have to be afraid.
I'll come to the embassy. British territory. It will be legal in your office.
Don't make a joke of it.
Do I look respectable?
Sarah, please take care of yourself. Can't you come to my flat? We could spend hours together, all night.
Nobody comes here.
Did you do anything about...
About what?
Oh, aren't you worried about getting pregnant?
No, it's too late to worry.
What do you mean?
It's not your problem. I found out I was pregnant a month ago, before I met you.
What the hell are you saying?
I'm 10 weeks gone.
You knew and you didn't tell me?
It's not your concern. The father's dead. I told you.
You didn't tell me you were carrying his bastard.
Is that what a white girl would have done?
You made a fool of me.
Bloody hypocrite. Don't act as you've met me at the tennis club dance. You just wanted to try a black girl, didn't you? See if it's true what they say.
Don't talk like a whore.
I'll talk the way I feel. Just take me back.
Were you waiting till I noticed?
Stop here.
Why?
Stop the car.
The prisoner says you kicked him in the stomach.
No.
When he was on the floor.
He was never on the floor.
How do you think he ruptured his spleen?
I think I caught him with my hand. He rushed at me. I put my hand out.
Could you show us how? Would you step down here a minute, please? Would the prisoner step down? Now, could you show us again? Was the prisoner rushing at you on stilts?
The court is adjourned until 2 o'clock.
Did you ask her?
Yes, she said all right.
She'll come?
Yes.
Where?
Your place.
sorry.
If it's to say you're sorry, you don't have to.
No, I wanted to see you again, and I've missed you.
Well, I missed you too, Morris.
It's been awful.
Yes.
I seem to be in love with you.
It's because things were left unsaid. You'll be all right, Neil.
No, I won't. I love you.
You're making terrible trouble for yourself.
For us.
Yes, for us. I want you to stop. I love you.
Sarah's key. Don't worry about her. She's in good hands.
Thank God.
Have you told your people?
Yes. London says I've got to get right out.
Good. You must take the first possible plane to Lorenzo Marquez and wait for Sarah in the Polana Hotel. I'll get her there one way or another.
Connolly, I'm damn grateful.
It's all for the cause.
I wish I could say I was part of your cause, but I'm not. Maybe your communism isn't real communism.
It's real communism, all right? Sarah's ex may take a week or two. Don't worry. Goodbye, cousin.
It's good to see you.
Thought I was never going to see you again, Boris.
They sent me back here after your last report, the one about Muller.
What happens here?
I give language lessons.
You teach Russian?
English. Don't laugh, my only pupil is a Pole.
Boris, did you know all the time you were here that Connolly was dead?
No, I didn't know until a few weeks ago.
I was only doing this for Connolly, because he saved Sarah. I never pretended I shared his beliefs. And there isn't any Connolly now.
You told me once that you became a naturalized black when you fell in love with Sarah.
Yes.
You're doing this for Sarah's people, your people. We do need you, Morris.
But how can you? The information I give you is mostly trivial.
We take Uncle Remus very seriously. How are things at home?
Sarah's worried by the telephone rings. She thinks it's burglars. I'm worried about Sam and Sarah. If something happens to me...
We have your escape route very carefully planned.
Now, my escape route? What about Sarah and Sam's?
They will follow you. You can trust us, Morris.
Yes, I know, I'm sorry.
What is it, Emmanuel? They're holding the plane.
I didn't know you were going to Washington today.
Nor did I. What do you want?
A green light.
A green light?
The marked card has turned up.
What marked card?
You remember that night at your house, after the pheasant shoot? You and I in Daintree. I said I'd pass some information to a friend of ours who's...
Poor help. Oh, yes.
It's come back like a homing pigeon.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
All right.
The word at the office is you're off work with a hangover.
I really feel awful. We didn't drink that much.
No, it's my fault for weaning you off the port. Sit up, old chap. Must have been the champagne. The wineless in some of these sex clubs are a national disgrace.
What are you doing?
This is better than the hair of the dog.
It's kind of you to bother.
No point in your suffering.
Here's the mail.
Is the Zaire back in?
Yes. Arthur's ill, by the way.
What's the matter with Davis?
He said he had a splitting head. He telephoned himself, so it can't be serious.
Hangover?
Perhaps. He said he'd been out drinking with Dr. Percival last night.
Well, I'll go and see him at lunch. Will you come?
I'm afraid I'm busy.
It was kind of you to come, Castle.
I'll come again.
Next time, do you think you could ask Cynthia if she'd like to come with you? How's Sarah?
Fine.
And the little bastard?
Little bastard is fine, too.
I wish I had a little bastard. But only with Cynthia.
Yes.
She should never have looked at me if she meant I should not love her. I put it badly, you see. I read poetry. I mark the passages which remind me of Cynthia.
I'll ask her.
I'm not malingering, really, I'm not. My arms and my legs feel like jelly. You don't think, Castle, do you, this might stop me?
Stop you?
I'd be a different man if I could get to Lorenzo Marquez.
I've done my best. I talked to C.
Yes, you are a good chap.
I'll see you soon.
Come in.
You wanted to see me?
Come in and sit down. My daughter.
Oh, beautiful girl.
Getting married this morning.
Oh, congratulations.
Never met the man. But I talked to him about baby's bottoms.
Baby's bottoms?
Yes, he invented the slogan, "You can bet your baby's bottom there's nothing smoother than Jameson's." Don't you get damn lonely in this outfit sometimes?
I get on well with Davis. That makes a lot of difference.
Are you quite satisfied with him?
Look, has there been a complaint of some kind? I'd back him to the hilt if there has.
Yes, would you do me a favor, Castle? I've been let down by the chap I was going to take to the wedding, and I wouldn't like my daughter to think that I had no friends. Oh, we wouldn't have to go to the registry office or anything, but there's a small reception in my wife's flat. It's not far.
I'd be glad to come, sir.
It's damn decent. I won't know a soul there, except for my wife, of course, and I haven't spoken to her for 7 years.
Oh, yes.
He's absolutely dishy.
Oh, I'm Daintree.
Daintree?
This is my daughter's wedding.
Oh, then you must be Sylvia's husband.
Yes, I didn't catch your name.
Sylvia! Sylvia!
Let's go.
You must see your daughter.
Yes. I'd forgotten about the owls.
My dear, Edward told me you were here. How nice of you to come.
Yeah, this is Castle from the office. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't...
Morris.
Morris Castle.
How do you do, Mr. Castle? For Christ's sake, Edward, is it one of the owls?
No, only an ashtray.
Are you a friend of Colin's?
No.
He's brilliant.
You work together, do you?
You might say I am Jameson's baby powder. Oh, coats in the bedroom. That way.
Is your name Castle?
Yes.
Somebody wants you. A woman. She sounds upset.
Sarah? Cynthia? What is it?
You haven't even met Colin yet.
No.
Davis is dead.
Davis?
He's dead. Dr. Percival is over there now.
My gosh, man.
hadn't expected this to happen.
What do you mean?
I didn't expect the things to go so rapidly.
I suppose there'll be a post-mortem.
Of course. That's what his doctor wants.
Why the special branch here?
I asked him to look round.
Why? Do you think he was killed?
No, of course not. His liver was in a shocking state.
Well, I don't understand what they're after.
Just a security check, Castle.
Here's another one. The same vertical line down the margin. She should never have looked at me if she meant I should not love her.
Are you going out?
Yes, I need some air. So does Buller.
Darling, don't let's tell Sam yet about Davis. Not while he's still finding his feet at school.
Oh, you know best.
Poor Davis. No more hide and seek.
Yes, no more hide and seek. Come on, Buller.
Ferguson from the Prime Minister's office and General Phipps from Military Intelligence. Hello, Tommy.
John.
Mr. Muller.
Mr. Muller, gentlemen.
Would you like to sit here?
You can.
I'm very sorry, sir, but Mr. Watson was going straight from home to the funeral.
Damnation, this is for Section 6.
But I managed to catch Mr. Castle. He's outside now.
Oh, yes, get him. We've had a death in the family.
I'm sorry. Who is it?
A chap called Davis. Well, Mr. Muller has just returned from Germany. Thank you for coming over at such short notice. Now, Castle, sorry to make you miss the funeral. I want you to cover this for Watson, all right?
Of course.
Well, far away. No notes, gentlemen.
Thank you. This is an off-the-record briefing about an operation known as Uncle Remus. The first thing to say is that Uncle Remus is not an operation to defend South Africa for its own sake, but to defend the Free West. This is certainly understood in Washington, from where Sir John has just returned. If the gold mines were ever closed by a racial war, Russia would be the chief source of gold. And for all of us, it would make the oil crisis look like a minor inconvenience. Not just gold, diamonds, uranium. And if it was a losing war, as in Vietnam, well, you can see it's a worrying picture.
I can't believe they'd get involved again. I mean with troops in a strange continent. Well, they're just as ignorant of Africa as they were of Asia.
Uncle Remus would make the use of troops almost unnecessary. The plan is, in the event of invasion, To seal South Africa off from the north, leaving a narrow channel where the enemy can be met and stopped.
How? You've got a long, open frontier. Too long for minefields. You're going to build a wall?
An invisible wall, yes. The careful use of technical weapons in desert country would make such a wall.
Tactical?
It's a reassuring word. The technical bomb was reasonably clean. Much cleaner than the bomb at Hiroshima.
Jesus Christ.
Mr. Castle, I was hoping you would call in. I have the trout for you. My son says you will enjoy this one very much.
I was thinking of dropping in to see your son. Would I find him in?
You won't, sir. Not now. Anything I can tell him?
It's a rather delicate matter. I have a number of books at home, bought in my youth. Illustrated books of the kind your son may be interested in. And it struck me that, some of them might be worth quite a lot of money. And, well, you know how it is. I've brought a list with me.
I'll make sure he gets it as soon as he's back.
That's very kind of you.
And what about The Way We Live Now?
The way?
The book by Trollope.
Do you mind if I don't bother after all? I need a rest from all that.
Yes, fine. Thank you. Hold on a minute. Here. Get out. Yes? Fine, that's all right.
Remember poor Davis?
You know nothing about Davis.
Put some soda in.
Look, don't mother me, Sarah. I don't want to be looked after. I'm sorry.
Something has happened. Why can't you talk to me? Because they forbid it? The Official Secrets Act and all that stupidity?
It's not them. When we came to England, Sarah, Connolly sent someone to see me. He had saved you and Sam. All he asked for in return was a little help. I was grateful, and I agreed.
What's wrong with that?
I've been a double agent for 7 years. That. I've waited all that time to tell you.
Are you in danger?
I've always been in danger.
Now, tonight.
It's worse now. I think they've discovered there's a leak, and I think they thought it was Davis.
You think they killed him?
Yes.
So it might have been you.
Yes.
How did they know about the leak?
Well, they must have a defector somewhere in Moscow who had access to my reports and passed them back to London.
That means you're safe. If you stop now, it will confirm that Davis was the leak.
I know. I told Connolly's man I was finished. I said goodbye to the whole thing. And then something else happened. It dropped into my lap like a gift from God, or more like a joke from God. The biggest secret I've ever been trusted with. Because Watson happened to be at a funeral.
What are you talking about?
I had to let them know what those bastards are up to. I hope I have. I don't know.
Yes, it's suicide. Now that Davis is dead, when your reports passed back to London...
I know, but it may save a lot of lives. Lives of your people.
Don't talk to me about my people. You are my people. What do you want me to do?
Well, the best thing would be for you to take Sam and go to my mother's. Separate yourself from me for a while. Pretend there's been a bad quarrel. If nothing happens, I'll stay here and we'll come together again.
And if something does happen?
Well, they've promised me an escape route. Alone. And then they'd contact you and Sam when everything dies down. We wouldn't be able to communicate. Perhaps for a long time. You haven't said a word of blame, Sarah.
What would I say?
Well, I'm what's commonly known as a traitor.
We have our own country. You and I and Sam. And you've never betrayed that. How long will we have?
I don't understand why you jumped to such a conclusion.
Well, something kept bothering me after my evening with Castle. Later, I realized what it was. It was the way he took the news of Connolly's death.
Connolly was a friend of his.
A communist friend.
It was his job to make communist friends.
I wasn't seriously alarmed. I simply made a mental note that if was ever a league in the African section, it would be Castle.
Interesting.
And then came the funeral. A chap called Davis, you said.
Davis died of cirrhosis.
Yeah, so you said. And Connolly died of pneumonia. I will only say one thing, Sir John. If there has been a league in the African section, I tell you with utter certainty that the league is Castle.
Well, as I say, there has been no leak. We've simply lost a good man who liked port a little too much.
I hope to God you're telling the truth.
This is my house, Mr. Muller.
I mean no offense. We both have to tell lies from time to time. I just hope that for you, this isn't one of those times. Good night.
Ah, is Mr. Halliday there?
But this is Mrs. Halliday.
My name's I'm a customer.
Yes, Mr. Castle.
Well, I wanted to ask him about a letter.
I've no idea when he'll be back.
Oh, where is he?
He had to go to court.
Court.
They arrested our son, you see.
Arrested him? I thought the police had come to an understanding with your son.
That's what he thought till 6 o'clock this morning. Wicked, isn't it?
I'm sorry. I thought we had time. I was wrong. You'll have to take Buller.
What will you do?
I've got a number for abandoned ship. I don't know if it still works. Either they'll help me to get out, or the police will come.
Then it's the end for us.
Of course it's not the end. As long as we're alive, we'll come together again.
I spoke to your mother. She wasn't exactly welcoming.
Now, if nothing happens, you'll come back, okay?
And if?
You came to the Falana Hotel, remember?
Yes.
Bye, Daddy.
Goodbye, son. I'll see you soon. Oh, damn. Come on, come on.
What's Muller got to go on?
Intuition.
Intuition?
My secretary tried to phone Castle at home earlier. No reply.
Probably away for the day, taking the family.
I thought if Daintree went down to Bergenstedt, make sure that's all it is. I hope nothing comes of this. It would mean that Davis was innocent.
He's no loss to the firm, John. He was inefficient, careless, and he drank too much. Sooner or later, he'd have been a problem anyway. Have a peanut.
No, thanks.
May I use the toilet, please?
Yes.
I'm glad you're there. Sarah seems to think that you might have gone away.
No, I'm still here.
What's all this nonsense between you?
It isn't nonsense, Mother.
Oh, Sarah says that you forgot to take Buller.
Yes, I know.
Sam wants to know whether you fed him.
Tell him I have. Thank you.
May I come in?
Yes, of course. Let me take your coat.
Thank you.
Please. Come in.
Thank you.
Have a scotch?
Yes, I'll have a small one if I may.
Please sit down. What are you doing here, Danger?
Well, cigarette.
I don't think so.
May I?
Please.
I just happened to be driving through and I thought I'd look you up.
I'm sorry. I know security is a serious business. Have you come to add to my troubles?
Add?
Yes, as a matter of fact, my wife has left me with my son. She's gone to my mother's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, we quarreled.
It's awful when things like that happen. You know, the last time you and I met was the day of my daughter's wedding.
We had to leave suddenly because of Davis.
Yeah, poor devil.
What do you think about his death?
Oh, I don't know what to think. I try not to think about it, to tell you the truth.
They think he was guilty of a leak in my section, don't they?
Well, they don't confide all that much in the security officer.
Davis never leaked anything to anyone.
You believe that?
I know it.
Well, I've had my doubts, to tell you the truth.
So they did confide in you. It was a bad day for you, wasn't it? First to break that owl, and then to see Davis dead on his bed.
Yes, I didn't like what Dr. Percival said.
What was that?
He said, I hadn't expected this to happen.
Yes, I remember.
Opened my eyes.
And they jumped in too quickly. They didn't properly investigate the alternatives.
You mean yourself?
Or Watson.
Oh, Watson, yes, I'd forgotten about Watson.
And what about our agents over there?
Yes, true enough.
And the secretaries? What was security doing?
I don't have as free a hand as you think, you know.
Did they talk to you about boxes?
Oh, you know all about that, do you?
Yeah, we all get that spiel. Well, Davis is in a box all right now. Another scotch?
Oh. No, thank you, I'm fine. You know, you and I could be making the same mistake, jumping to conclusions. Maybe Davis was guilty.
Well, if our section was the one suspected of leaks, the information could only have concerned Africa.
Yes, I see that.
Oh. That seems to indicate an African interest. Or an attachment to Africa or to Africans. I doubt if Davis had ever known an African. Except, of course, for my wife and my child. You take, just by way of a contrast, take a man like 69300 in Lorenzo Marcus. No one knows what friendships he's made. He has his own agents, many of them communists, as I had in Pretoria. You see what I mean?
It's time to go, I think. Right.
Is that your car?
No, I'm parked a few yards up the road. I misread the numbers. Thanks for the scotch.
Beautiful boy you are. Ah, Mr. Castle. The back door was open, and I imagine we haven't got a lot of time. Your watchdog is so friendly. He found me when I was watching you through the French windows at the back.
Mr. Halliday, I wasn't expecting you.
No, sir, I thought not.
My letter. Did you give it to your son?
I thought it better not. You've always been, I think, under a bit of a misunderstanding. My son does not concern himself in your way of business. I pass the message on where it truly belongs. Where exactly are your wife and boy? You see, I have ordered...
I understand. I sent them away.
Well, that's one difficulty out of the way. It's a pity your wife didn't take the dog.
It was all a bit of a rush.
What were you going to do with the dog?
I don't know. Couldn't you?
You're not a sporting gentleman, unfortunately. I mean, shotgun.
I've a Smith & Wesson revolver. There's been a bullet in the second chamber. It's been lying there for nearly 10 years.
You have a cellar?
Yes.
What's his name?
Buller.
Buller. Buller, you don't want to cause any trouble, do you, eh? You wicked old thing.
And what was your impression?
My impression? My impression was that you killed the wrong man.
Pity.
How did you get mixed up in this?
Not mixed up, sir. I've been a member of the party since I was a boy.
So you're one of the faithful?
On the quiet. No meetings, no marches. In a lonely life. They use me when they can in little ways. I've picked up from your drop many a time.
Have you never wavered a bit, Halliday? Hungary? Czechoslovakia?
I don't know what you've done for us, sir, but it must be important. It makes me proud to think that you're on the road to Moscow in this old car of mine.
I never wanted to end up in Moscow. I'm afraid I'm not a communist, Mr. Halliday.
There's a key in the glove compartment, room 1028. All you have to do is to take the lift straight up.
And after that?
I wouldn't know, sir. A little present. That trollop you asked for. You might be glad of something to read.
Thank you.
Goodbye, sir.
Please, time is a little lacking for us. Please, sit down. This is your passport, Mr. Partridge. Your ticket is to Paris only.
But surely they'll be watching all planes wherever they go.
They'll be watching, in particular, the one to Prague, which is due to leave at the same time as the one to Moscow, which has been delayed. Perhaps Aeroflot await an important passenger. The police will be very attentive to Prague and Moscow.
But what about the immigration desk?
That would be taken care of. Please, keep still, Mr. Partridge.
But what's my profession?
Retired.
Well, that at least is true.
Could I speak to Mrs. Morris Castle, please?
What name, please?
Butler.
Would you wait in there?
Thank you. Thank you.
There's a Mr. Butler to see you, Sarah. Please don't leave your toys lying about. There's a good boy.
Mrs. Castle,
Yes.
I'm Inspector Butler.
Yes.
I thought perhaps you might tell us how to get in touch with your husband.
You don't know where he is?
Well, why should the police know where your husband is?
I mean, you didn't try his office?
It was his office which suggested I might find you here.
Well, I don't know where he is. What is it about?
It's partly about a dog.
Bulla?
Well, the neighbors complained about the noise, a sort of whining, and someone telephoned the police station. Well, the dog had been shot, and whoever did it made a mess of it. I'm afraid, Mrs. Castle, they had to finish your dog off.
Oh, God, what will Sam say?
Sam?
My son. He loved Bulla.
Oh. Well, tell him the dog was run over and killed right away.
Yes, perhaps. I can't really help you. You see, I'm separated from my husband.
When did you see him last?
Saturday morning.
And you don't know where he is now?
I'm afraid, Inspector, I don't much care where he is now.
Thank you, Mrs. Castle.
Mrs. Castle, I'm so happy I persuaded you to come. How about a drink? I've decided on a sherry.
That's fine. I don't know why I did come.
Well, let's get the important matters settled first, shall we? In a place like this, it's best to go English. May I suggest the Lancashire hot pot?
I don't mind.
And to start with,
Nothing.
I shall follow your admirable example. To drink, what about some wine?
Thank you, just a glass.
Excellent. You must have been having a very anxious time.
Anxious?
Not knowing from day to day.
I was not terribly interested.
But you are here.
At your request.
We were all very fond of Morris.
You speak as though he were dead.
Oh, no. I expect you know he's arrived safely in Moscow. Oh, my dear, I've upset you.
No, it's all right.
We're going straight to the Lancashire hot pot. I'm sorry. I thought you'd heard the good news.
Good news.
Well, I'm speaking from your point of view. Morris has chosen a very dangerous road. We all hope very much you won't get involved.
I have separated from Morris.
Of course. Well, I mean, it was the obvious thing to do, wasn't it? You would have made it a little bit conspicuous. The three of you.
You think I'm a traitor, too?
My dear, traitor isn't a word we use in the firm. We leave that to the newspapers. Let's say Morris followed a different loyalty. And what could be more sacred than family loyalty? May I ask what you'll do when he does get in touch with you?
I shall do what he tells me to do.
So glad you said that. It means you and I can be perfectly frank with one another. I imagine that sooner or later he'll ask you to join him out there.
And I'll go?
With the child?
Of course.
No, we'll have a bottle of the Mouton Cadet.
You can't stop us from going.
I wouldn't be too sure. We've got quite a file on you at the office. In South Africa, you were very friendly with a man named Connolly, a communist agent.
Of course I was. I was helping Morris for your service. Though I didn't know it then. I thought he was writing a book.
And perhaps Morris even then was helping Connolly. Morris is now in Moscow. MI5 might think you ought to be investigated. All we're asking is that you be sensible. Stay in the country with your mother-in-law and your child.
Morris's child.
Well, that's another thing. You met this man, Cornelius Muller. He's of the opinion, forgive the plain speaking, that the father was one of your people. You had a boyfriend.
He's dead.
Muller says he's safely under lock and key, alive for.
Mullah is lying.
Probably will. What difference does it make? Is the child on your passport?
No.
Passport people can be very slow at times.
What bastards you are.
My dear, if you'll let an old man advise you, an old man who was a friend of Morris.
And of Davis. You were a friend of Davis too, weren't you?
Surely you're not leaving already, eh?
Oh, yes, I am leaving. And please, don't telephone me again.
Hello, I'm Bellamy. I thought I'd take up my courage and call. Un petit cadeau.
Thank you.
I never knew where to find things until Crookshank showed me, and then I showed Bates. You haven't met them yet?
No.
Well, they will come round now that you've been unwrapped. I hear you're going to have a press conference any day now.
How do you know?
From a Russian friend. Dreadful, isn't it? Don't worry, it's just a matter of insisting on your own standards. You'd be surprised what you can achieve if you don't stand for any nonsense. They want us to be happy.
I'm afraid I don't recall how you... Did you say Bellamy?
Bellamy, of the British Council. My dear, yes, complicated story. I had a German friend. It seems he was running a lot of agents in the East, though I didn't know. Then the silly boy got himself seduced by an awful woman. An awful woman. He deserved to be punished. So I blew the whistle on him, if you'll pardon the expression. And she reported me to the British Embassy, the little bitch. Was I glad to get Checkpoint Charlie behind me?
Are you happy here?
Yes, I am. I've got a Russian friend now. It's against the law, of course, but they make exceptions. And my friend is an officer in the KGB. You must come and see our villa when the spring comes.
What's that?
It must be your phone, old dear.
Hello? Hello? Well, at least it's connected. How do you phone London?
No point yet. They'll tell you when.
Boris!
Welcome. Don't mind me. I'm just going.
This is Mr. Bellamy.
I'm young too, children.
How's Sarah?
In a minute. Sarah asked me to give you one from her and one from Sam. They're well enough.
When will I see them?
That is what I came to speak to you about. There are difficulties.
What difficulties?
You will have to be patient.
Patient? Did you see her?
I spoke to her.
Did she seem well?
Yes, yes.
Well, what are the difficulties?
We didn't assume they would try to stop her.
They can't stop her.
Sam has no passport. And your people have hinted that if she tries to leave, she can be arrested for complicity.
You promised.
In good faith. It might still be possible to smuggle her out if she left the child behind.
Sarah wouldn't do that.
I know, she told me.
Why did you get me out? Old Halliday had the dope on Uncle Remus.
You sent the emergency signal, we answered it. Also, it was very important for us to get you out.
What?
I will tell you, you have never been given the real picture. Your people thought they had an agent in place here in Moscow, but we planted him on them. The information you gave us, he passed back to London. Your reports had no value themselves, but they made the so-called defector look genuine. And all the time, he was passing to London other information which we wanted London to believe. A nice piece of deception.
It was me you deceived. You and Connolly. Yes, I always gave away too much in a swore.
But then came Uncle Remus. And we decided the best way to deal with Uncle Remus was publicity. Tell everybody. We couldn't do that and leave you in London. We needed you here because you had to be our source.
I'd rather have stayed. At least prisons have visiting days.
We need you here, Morris. In a few days, you meet the press.
Well, suppose I refuse to cooperate unless you bring Sarah.
Then we will do without you. We are grateful to you, Morris, but gratitude, like love, needs to be renewed, or it is liable to die away. Things are not so bad here. You will like it better when the spring comes.
Sarah? Sarah? Moscow.
I know.
There he was on the television screen with a lot of journalists, justifying himself. He had the nerve, the effrontery. Is that why you quarreled? Oh, you did right to leave him.
We only pretended to quarrel. He didn't want me involved.
Were you involved?
No.
Oh, thank God for that. I don't want to have to turn you out of the house.
Would you have turned Morris out if you had known?
No. I'd have kept him here just long enough to call the police.
Try to understand. If he hadn't loved me and Sam.
Morris is a traitor.
A traitor to whom? To Muller and his friends? To the security police?
I've no idea who Muller is. He's a traitor to his country. If you don't understand that, perhaps you should be in Moscow, too.
I am going if they let me.
You won't take Sam. Sam is my grandson. He's a British subject. I will stop him.
I don't think you can do that.
I will see my lawyer tomorrow. Hello?
Morris?
Sarah,
Morris, where are you?
you know where I am. I love you, Sarah.
I love you, Morris.
Look, we must speak quickly. One never knows when they might cut the line. How's Sam? Give him my love.
Yes, I will. Are you all right?
I miss you terribly, Sarah.
Oh, so do I. So do I. But I can't leave Sam behind.
Of course you can't. I understand that.
Are you all right?
Oh, everyone's very kind. They've given me a sort of job. They're grateful to me for much more than I ever intended to do.
Have you any friends?
Oh, yes. You know, I get invited out, and I may get a country place when the spring comes.
Are you there, Morris? Morris, please go on hoping, please.
Sarah? Sarah?
Coming up tonight here on BBC4, Time Shift investigates the many faces of a master detective. Interviews with Sherlock's Benedict Cumberbatch and Mark Gatiss in How to Be Sherlock Holmes in just a moment. And then at 10 to 1, Al Murray is on the trail of the great British spy movies. Don't go away.
During this election campaign, we've heard a lot from the politicians, but they don't always reveal much about their personalities or the beliefs that help form their policies. So I'll be interviewing a range of party leaders to get to the heart of what really drives them. Nigel Farage joins me for the leaders' interviews Wednesday at 7:30 on BBC One.
BBC4 goes slow. A week of programmes to take your time over. All aboard the Canal Trip on BBC4 and BBC4 HD.
Al Murray tracks down the great British spy movies at 10 to 1 here on BBC4. Now, though, from Peter Cushing through Jeremy Brett to Benedict Cumberbatch's bang-up-to-date character